talking about the NBA.
Absolutely, we sure are, and we are live. I want to make sure everybody, make sure they hit that subscribe button, the like, the share, and all that good stuff. The sharing is caring. Type in 411 Sports World Network on YouTube. You know, we had to rebrand, we had to rework it. Go to 411 Sports World Network, as you can see right there below me on that screen. That's our new YouTube page. We also on TikTok under Mr. 411 MisterFouroneone. That's Mr. 411. And then same thing on Instagram, Mr. 411. That's where you're going to find us on those three spaces there. And Mr. Brown is here in the building. Going to have some other guests arrive as well. And if you're froggy enough, we got a link out there on YouTube if you want to jump in. It's a live line, so you can jump in if you want. We're going to run this credit, then we're going to come back to the other side, Mr. Brown, and talk NBA. We're going to talk about the I guess like the business side of the league. We talk about trades because Jimmy Butler and Luka Dončić kind of have moved to new teams. Uh, get our thoughts on the contenders. Dive a little bit into the Lakers and see what you think about them. And we'll leave it open for anything else at the end on that. So let's get started.
Great.
All right, we are here for One Sports World Network. Mr. Brown, how's your day been?
It has been great, outstanding. How about yours?
Excellent. Yeah, man. A great day. Like you say, as you always say, another day. It's better to be what is it? Better to be seen than viewed. So I'm good with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's
You know,
the thing. It's
that's
always
right. We
good
have
to be
another.
seen and not viewed. Yeah,
Absolutely. And we get a chance to we get a chance to do this again. So really ready to talk about it, man. Let's get into it then. Let's start with NBA. Let's get into let's go with the trades, okay? Because the trades kind of tie into the business side of things. So Luka Doncic and Jimmy Butler come to mind as far as some major moves as far as trades are concerned. Your thoughts on Jimmy Butler to the Warriors thus far, and also Luka Doncic to the Lakers.
the Luka Dončić trade was perhaps one of the most intriguing trades in the history of the NBA. You can look at the Kareem Abdul or Luel Cinder to LA, but that was when his contract was up. But Luca in his prime was taken from a team that were arguably a playoff team
Hmm.
and sent to a team who was struggling to make the playoff, who could potentially wind up in third place so they wouldn't have to have a play in game. And the most, I guess, the most confusing thing to me is when Chris Paul was trying to go to the Lakers and they blocked that trade. For what reason? I don't know. It's been said that David Stern owned the Pelicans at the time. I think that was the team he was with. Or one, no,
Well,
Oklahoma. No, it wasn't.
it was Pelicans slash Hornets, right? It was the Charlotte. It was the New Orleans
Yeah,
team
so
at the
NBA
time.
owned
Yeah.
them. Yeah, NBA owned
NBA
that
ran
team,
the team.
and they didn't
Hmm.
want to let it go. But now you have a new ownership, and you got to try, at least from my perspective, is the motive of sending him to the Lakers, and they really didn't get anything for him. You got as Charles Barkley called him, street clothes. And where is he at right now? Injured. So he's out for the remainder of the season. Then you put the pressure on Kyrie Irving, and what happened to him? He's injured. So now, being a cynic, I wonder if they're trying to tank to get some draft picks, because right now what they have is not it's not sustainable as a team. So they're going to find themselves as basement dwellers. And then there's always the question of if we tank enough and people find themselves disenchanted with the team, can I move them to Las Vegas? So, there are several scenarios out there. Now, the Jimmy Butler trade in and of itself has been perhaps a better trade. And the reason I'll say that is Jimmy has given new life to Steph. You can't just jump on Steph with Jimmy on the floor. And Jimmy plays great defense. So you have Jimmy. What's my guy's name from Michigan State?
Talking Draymond Green. Draymond Green is there, and
you
Curry.
have and then you have
Draymond and
Curry,
Curry.
Draymond. And so what you have is I don't see them as being a championship team. I see them as a team that can mix the league up. They could definitely be a pain or thorn in the side of some of those playoff teams because you have Oklahoma, you have LA Lakers, who else you have on that coast?
Well,
So
yeah, you got the Lakers, Sacramento somewhere in there, and the back end.
Sacramento,
Clippers are kind of in the mix. Now, if you're talking about California,
Sacramento's in trouble. Yeah, Sacramento is
mhm,
in trouble. The
yeah.
Clippers is Kawhi is making a comeback, and he's tough. He is tough. He's a load to handle, but I still don't think that the beard gives them an opportunity to win. He's beyond his abilities in his prime, so he's a liability on any team that he finds himself on. But it's a great season. If for no other reason, you're looking to the future of the NBA. So that means the drafts that's coming up, the playoffs, you'll get a position to find out where your team is going to be. Now, you're talking about the NBA and the playoffs, right? My team, the Detroit Pistons, have made a run.
Yes.
They've won
Okay.
more games this year. Hopeful, not necessarily to where we're going to be in there and cause damage, because on that side of the country, you deal with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know how they put that team together or with whom they have. Donovan Mitchell is the superstar. And if the game is close, he'll hurt you. So, and I'm just all over the league. I'm over the league because I like small market teams being competitive. I like new blood in the playoffs. I don't like seeing the same teams in the playoff.
Oh, okay. We lost Mr. Brown there, but he'll be back. So what he was saying there, and it's a great segue because it's actually going to tie into what I like, and hopefully we get him back real quick. But I am looking forward to seeing the OKC and the Cleveland in the playoffs. Let's get Mr. Brown back on. All
Okay, here
right.
I am. Yeah. OKC and Cleveland is that's a great matchup, and I like the way OKC built their team. Have a lot of draft picks, but on the business side of it, is it sustainable? Are you going to be able to keep all those players together? Because they have a great squad, great squad, and they fill every position on the floor. But people, when it comes to money and the business side of it, can you keep that team together? And I really don't think so. I like them from the perspective of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He is a superstar. He doesn't get into a lot of back and forth. He just played the game, and I like that about him. Holmgren is injury prone, but when he's in there, he presents a challenge to anybody. You just can't. He can shoot the three from the top of the key, so you can't just sag in the paint on him. They have some great players, so I'm just talking about two of them. But the business side always make a team vulnerable in the NBA because somebody's going to come after your better players with money. I want to leave you. I'm not going to leave you, but man, what's going on with
Okay,
Joel Embiid?
there I am.
Can
I'm
you
here.
answer me?
Well,
What's
yeah.
going
Well,
on
with
with Joel?
Embiid, right? Well, Embiid, it looks like he has a knee issue. He has a situation where it looks like his injury will not get any better. There's a lot of rumors out there that he may need to medically retire, or if nothing else, he'll end up in the Kawhi Leonard type of plan if you still want to roll with him as a franchise. So they really got to take a look at that. They may have to cut their losses with Embiid and not tie their hopes into hoping he comes back and hoping he could be something. He may, the ship may have sailed on Embiid right now. So in summary, his health is deteriorating. And also in Philadelphia, you got Paul George, who really has underperformed. And Maxey has kind of been the one bright spot for Philly. But now you're counting on the little man to be your, on to be your best player right now when this team was designed to be built around Embiid. So Philly got some work to do when it comes to getting that organization together. I think they may need to retool. And what we're also going to do right now, Mr. Brown, while we're talking about the NBA contenders, we're going to bring in E because E is in the building and he wants to
Oh,
chime
okay.
in as well. So we'll get him in and E,
Plus,
welcome to the show, E.
Mr. Brown, Mr. Foe,
Hello, how are you?
doing very well this year. What about you?
Absolutely hanging in there.
Very
Hey,
good.
I'm in here with two goats.
Go.
So this is awesome. With two goats. And what we would talk about, as you can see on the screen, there is the playoff teams. Mr. Brown and he already mentioned that he likes to see new blood, and I agree with that. I like that NFL approach where there could be any team any year in the post in threatening for a championship. So for me personally, Cleveland, OKC. Uh, with the sprinkle of Boston. Hey, I don't mind seeing Boston in the finals this year, even though I'm a Laker fan. So, but I think Boston is probably the best team in the East and in the league. But I do like that kind of mix. So, what is your look so far, E, on the playoffs? And by the way, hello, have a
I,
good day.
I like your mix. Your mix is kind of relatively easy because you don't have much of a choice, right? Yeah, it's good to have a sprinkle of other people. But it's also good to have that rivalry in the East. So many years we've looked at Milwaukee and early years. I'm going back to some of the GOAT talk now. Okay, Boston and the Philadelphias, right? And that type of thing. Then you had a sprinkle of the Bullets, which are the Wizards now. But yeah, I mean, when we look at it for the East, I thought New York was going to make a run. It seemed like they've been going downhill, and with
Hmm.
the injured Brunson out, and Cat having to take some time off for personal reasons, and that's something that's going on with him for a few years now. Even when he was with Minnesota, with death in the family and things that's really personal. But Cleveland, Boston, and it's just kind of disheartening to see what happened to Philadelphia this season. But it was something that was probably inevitable within the at his point. And then, of course, it seems like these guys getting $200 million contracts now, 300 million, and I guess upwards of 400 million in the next 12 months, what have you. We'll see further a decline of other teams, but injuries play a factor. Milwaukee hasn't risen up the way we thought that they probably would. But again, it looks like Boston, that's so deep. Boston is just so deep. Not
Yeah.
only they shoot a lot of 3-pointers, but you got a lot of veterans on that team. And of course, they are the reigning world champions at this particular time. But looks like Boston, looks like Cleveland. But I got to go with Boston on the experience right now.
Yeah, and I would say as far as the East is concerned, you do have to go with Boston. Cleveland's playing excellent ball. I mean, every time you think you look up, Cleveland is still winning. Like I think they're on a 12, 13 game win streak now. And They did beat Boston last Friday, I believe it was last Friday. Bless y'all, bless you. But last Friday, I think they beat them. Now Boston had a player or two missing in that game, but still, Cleveland got won that and made a big comeback to win that game. By the way, but I do like the thing about Boston is like Al Horford. We're not even talking about Al Horford and the key defensively. You know the defense that he puts on at 6'8", 6'9", the versatility, being able to shoot that three ball when needed too. His defense is really key. So they got depth all over the place in Boston. So yeah, that's gonna be a tough out for anybody.
We didn't even
Um,
mention Porzingis is still out
and
too.
Porzingis hasn't even been playing, right? He's been ill, as they say. So we don't know what the illness is, but he's been out ill. And you're right, because remember what he did game one against Dallas last year in the finals, where he just exploded. So that's another mismatch, having the 7-3 guy out there shooting threes. Um, but hey, what about the Mavericks, guys? I know that going back to the trade,
Before we
we
move
talked.
on, I would like to interject something if I can.
Oh, that's
So this Boston,
oh by,
this
by all means do
Boston
that.
train. Okay, so this Boston train that you're on, everybody's talking about,
Yeah, yeah.
being the presumptive favorite to come out of the East and win the championship.
Ali.
I'm gonna rock with Cleveland. Cleveland is 54-10.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
That's 54 and
impressive.
10. Then you
Impressive.
have Boston at 46-18.
Mm-hmm.
That 18 loss tells me that they can be had. That's how I look at it. I don't care about your wins. I look at your loss columns.
Yep.
Your loss column speaks volumes for you in terms of matchups. So you're talking about Porzingis, but don't sleep on Cleveland because they have three big guys that can play in the paint and outside, and they defend well. The next thing you have to do is Donovan Mitchell keeps everything relative. The game they beat Boston in the second half, he blistered them. He wound up with 41 points. I just, and quiet as it's kept, nah, I'm not a Boston fan. I like them, but I'm not a fan of Boston. I think that the road to the championship is going to go through Cleveland, but you can't undersell the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, okay. What do you like in Milwaukee right now? Is it
They've
because of Giannis?
Well, they've had some injuries. The twin, what's his name, the 7-footer,
Lopez.
Lopez, and then the forward that just got back, he was injured most of the season.
Portis?
No,
Portis
Portis is good.
out. He's going to be out for a while, right? Bobby
He
Portis
should
going to
be
be
back
out.
for the playoffs. But the other
Mhm.
guy that got injured last year,
Well,
Well, I know that didn't they add somebody though? Didn't they add he just got married too. He used to play for the Lakers.
book from Washington Wizards in the trade for
Yeah.
Middleton. Uh-huh.
Yeah. The one that does all the modeling and everything.
Six,
Taxes and all that stuff.
yeah. Former
Yeah.
Lakers player, right?
Yeah. Kuzma.
Kuzma, Kyle Kuzma.
Kyle
Yeah.
Kuzma. Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
playing
that's a good you
basketball for them.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely say don't forget about Milwaukee. I mean, as long as you have Giannis, you have a chance. But Mr. Brown, I hear you. I hear you about Cleveland because I'm on board with you with that. Like they look legit, and I'm not sleeping on it at all. I would love to see a OKC Cleveland final, but I'm still reminded that Boston, the team that just won it last year, they got all their pieces back, and 18 losses is not shabby either. Of course, Cleveland is a whole nother step ahead right now. I just think, man, that's going to be a hell of a series right there between those two. I definitely hope the Eastern Conference Finals is Boston and Cleveland. I do.
You know
Why?
what?
Oh, say it again. I think I missed you.
Why?
Oh, why is it going to be a series? A heck of a series?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because Cleveland has proven, like what you mentioned, they have athleticism, and you need that up front. You need some athletic guys up front because Boston spreads the court so well. But then you also have dynamic guard. With that was a great pickup by bringing in the guard from Utah. Well, Mitchell. I mean, bringing in Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a excellent pickup. They also have another guard
Ty is
back there. They have
buffering
good.
right now. And
Oh,
so
we're
he'll be
buffering.
back momentarily with his synopsis on what Mr. Brown is saying. Meanwhile, Mr. Brown and I
Who's
will
buffering?
continue until Tyrone comes back. Are you there, Mr. Brown?
No. What happened?
Uh,
Where's
I was
Tyrone? Where'd he go? Oh, he's back.
he's
Am
buffering
I
right
back?
now.
Am I still
Tyrone has
buffering or am
buffered
I
into the
clear?
sphere of the athletic arena of basketball. He'll be back to it. He went into the arena. He'll be back
Mic
momentarily. I
check.
like that what you
Mic.
said. And it kind of goes back to what Ty said, from the beginning, kind of like what would make this interesting right now. Like I said, don't sleep on the Milwaukee Bucks. And they did have those players at the trade of Middleton. And we can't forget about
Middleton.
them. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Middleton, the Olympian, the world champion, Middleton, who's obviously, he's been plagued by injuries, so they decided to trade him. Uh, and we can't sleep on as long as Kupo is able to play. You're back. We're back. You're back, Ty.
Yes, y'all carry on.
Very good. As long as Kupo is healthy on that team and a healthy Lillard, yeah, and the way the rise of the trade with again Kuzma, that's a legitimate team to contend to help another team get better off their efforts that they can put into play and kind of hold up that Eastern Conference to battle. It's going to throw it in at the Lakers or OKC or the Denver Nuggets out west.
Yeah,
And that's
it's gonna
another
be
thing
fun.
that sleeps on Denver. But Gary Trent Jr., who was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, is a defensive stalwart.
Yeah,
And they also had I don't know how Kevin Porter got to that team. Kevin Porter Jr., that forward. Where did he come from? He was always so he's a rotational player. He's somebody that you can bring into the game, and you're not going to lose a lot bringing him off the bench.
yeah. I mean, they're not easy out. I mean, they're a team that can be. I mean, the Eastern Conference Finals is not a stretch. So, especially with the experience of what a lot of those players have, that's on that team, and then if you combine the size with Lopez and Giannis on the front court, that can pose some problems there. So, and you never know with Lillard. If Lillard is hot and he's on, he's as good as it gets at the guard position when he's on. So the Eastern Conference playoffs is going to be fun, and I like the fact that again we're not talking enough about Detroit. Mr. Brown, you did bring them up. They've drastically improved and they drafted well and they're building the right way. That they look like a team that's definitely going to be one of those teams to be reckoned with in the near future, long term. So I like what they're building there too. What about we
Well,
did touch on the West. Oh, go ahead, and then we'll go to West.
no, we can go to the West now.
Okay, okay. So we go back to the West. You mentioned Denver. You never can sleep on Denver. Aaron Gordon's out with an injury. Not sure how long he'll be out, but they should be in the mix. Um, are there any sleeper teams that we need to be looking at?
Mm. Uh-oh. He has
Uh,
seemed like he left the building.
okay. Well, we'll hold it down till he gets back in here. Looks like it's a connection. But as far as out west, any other teams that just come to mind for you, or you pretty much stuck there with the OKCs and Denver, and we haven't really dived over to the Lakers yet. But is there any other teams out there for you?
No, no one's talking about Denver. And I don't get that. People talk about Boston, but they don't talk about Denver.
I'm back. I had to get some information. I had to go into the zone once again to
Very good.
see what's happening in the world of basketball tonight. We're sorry for the technical difficulties that we're having tonight right here on the 411 show. And hopefully we'll be able to reconnect soon. So we're going over the possibilities of the Eastern Conference playoffs as we enter the last 20 games for the NBA regular season in effort to figure out what's going on and whose teams are winning and losing, the trades that are being made at this particular times, and the effects of the injuries. Trades and injuries is one of our topics for tonight that we're trying to get to. At this particular time, again, we are having technical difficulties here on the show tonight, but we'll still proceed. All of you people that's looking in, don't go anywhere. In fact, send your questions in and your answers in right now. Tell us your thoughts on your NBA season. All you fans out there, we're not giving up on the season. We know that the NBA ratings are down 28%, according to some reports of this year. But we also know that there are also deals in the making right now. We know that TNT Crew is going to be going over and joining ESPN. That should add a lot of laughter and humor with that crew going over and producing what they produce. Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, Shaq, and Ernie Johnson on that crew. And we're going to continue to keep you posted on all the teams and everything that's going on in the NBA. But send your questions in right now for the show. We'll try to answer them or come up with some ideas and some food for thought. But we want to hear what you are saying about this NBA season. There's a lot of stuff going on. We just mentioned, we talked about the Boston Celtics. We talked about the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Mr. Brown mentioned not to sleep on the Boston Celtics, right? And the players on that team. We got a lot of new stuff coming in, a lot of trades that happen, right? And we haven't seen the last of those trades coming up in the weeks to come as this playoff continue to get a little hot, as usual, as the season winds down. We're in the March Madness era right now. So we've got some hot playoff stuff coming up. We're going to probably talk about, what the expectations for Cooper Flag, right? And the Duke players, we're wondering what he's going to do, with the NIL in for these athletes now. Some of them electing to stay or either make the money and enjoy that college life. And it should be really good.
Okay.
Antoine,
mic check.
Okay, I'm still here. I've been talking while you've been gone. I'm still here.
Antoine.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can anybody hear me?
What's up, Twan?
All right. Did we get
Hey,
everything?
gentlemen, how y'all doing this evening?
All right, doing well, Twan. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
Antoine, I can hear Antoine. I can hear Mr. Brown. I can hear E. So everybody's back.
Yeah.
All right, good deal. I appreciate you holding the fort there, E. I can hear you, but there was something going on the back end where I guess there was kind of a freeze there, but we all here.
I thought you had went into some of the arenas right quickly and was going to jet back, and finish up.
Oh man.
Shop. Just
Oh no.
Till you got
Well,
back.
okay, cool. So where we left off at, gentlemen, was the Western Conference. Let's jump right into the Lakers. Okay. How do you feel about this Luka LeBron trade? And then we also can talk about the business of it as well. All right. So let's get E's thought there. You can kick us off, E. Luka Dončić to the Lakers, the trade. What do you, that's your assessment of it, and then also the business side of this, because I know you want to talk about the business of the NBA as well.
You know what? This could go. This could go for another 45 minutes. You got several aspects, right? And first of all, I think Doncic is a fantastic, excellent player. Has been since day one. Undoubtedly, he's been a pro since age 15, right? One of the things that just tickled me, because I got to laugh about some of this, right? And everybody should laugh at some of this. Also, when people say, "Oh yeah, he's going to the Lakers," they just set themselves up for the next 10 years. Well, first of all, he's not going to play 10 years. And if he does, it's not going to be at a 28 point, 8 rebounds, 8 assists per game clip, right? Also, the Dallas Mavericks don't want to pay the massive contract that they would have to give him, okay? Coming up this summer, right, when he can sign an extension, right? And I do believe, right, that Doncic he's so good. He's kind of like the Shaq thing, right? That Shaq could have averaged maybe 32 to 33 points a game if he had worked harder. Doncic could probably do the same thing, but he's been so good for so long. And in fact, I'm going to go and say he's been great for so long, right? But 10 years out, and the Lakers setting themselves up for the future with him, unbelievable, unimaginable, not real. But if you're a real fan of basketball, and us basketball fans, sometimes we like delve into fantasy, right? And we know the politics of that, the interest in that, can only add to the enamored thought, right? The prophylactic, the grace of this great player, right? Yes, it's good for the NBA. Why? Because it's a big market. LA Lakers, right? LA Lakers is the third rated team as for value, 7.1 to 7.3 billion, also up 11% plus from over the last 12 to 24 months, right? In fact, all the teams. So it's good for the media, it's good for the people, it's good for the fans, and it's great for the NBA, even though viewership is down over 28%, but the team's value is still going up. So as the owner of the Lakers, Jenny Buss said, right, Anthony Davis got what he wanted. He was complaining about his position. He didn't want to play. And then Dallas got what they wanted. But let's look at it. Doncic hasn't won a championship yet. And then look at the aging LeBron James. We hope the best for LeBron, right? But he is 40 years old. The growing is not going to get better, right? Okay, but can he heal up and get ready for a playoff run? And can Doncic stay healthy? And can those other players surround themselves and garner? Yeah, they won 14, 15 in a row, or 15 out of the last 16. But remember, that streak started with Anthony Davis, right? So, but right now, it looks with the injury of Kyrie and Anthony Davis, that is on the way on a downward spiral. And even with Lively, if Lively even come back, I think it'll be too little, too late. And hopefully the Lakers can benefit from this trade right here, because the Mavericks are in total chaos right now.
Okay, Twan, you joined us. You joined in. You're here, right? You still with us?
Yep. Yes, sir. Still
Okay.
here.
All right. We kind of talked about it earlier. We're gonna let Brown give his thoughts on it, and then he'll pass it over to you. So Brown, Luka to the Lakers. What's your thoughts on that? How's it going? What you thought about the trade and the business side of things?
So he said something about the Mavericks not wanting to pay him. Mavericks doesn't pay anybody. They have a war chest there that they can pay any player any amount. But I think this is much bigger than Luka Dončić. The new owner of the Mavericks wants to move the team to Las Vegas, but what she wanted to do was build a new stadium there with a casino in it, and they told her no. With that, immediately following that, what'd she do? She traded Dončić. Jeannie Buss, they can say anything they want to say, but if you go back and you look at her proposal to build a new stadium with a casino, and the NBA said, no, you can't have casinos. Then the next thing she said, well, I'll move the team to Las Vegas. Now, the folks in Dallas are saying, no, you can't move them. The NBA saying you can't move them. So there's gonna come a time that they're gonna leave Dallas and go to Las Vegas. That's just the writing on the wall. You may not want to accept that, but she's the owner, and you can't tell these owners no, because Seattle, what did they say when oh no, we're going to be here forever and a day. We're not going to take this franchise from Seattle. What they're moving to? Oklahoma.
Yep.
So you can't believe anything these owners are saying because they're in the business of making money.
Absolutely
Dallas,
right. That's the bottom line. The bottom line. Make more money, pay people less. Make more money, pay people less. Make more money, pay people less.
I think that's the American way. But when you look at it on the face of the Western Conference, your leader is the Thunder. For however you want to view this or shake it out, I can't believe that the Lakers are going to be in the second place. Then you're going to have the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, the Rockets, and the Warriors. Those are going to be the teams that avoid the play-in games. Then below that, you're going to have Timberwolves, Clippers, Kings. Now, what makes the Clippers dangerous is Kawhi Leonard is back. Whatever you may think of him, Kawhi Leonard is one of the players in the NBA because he can get his shot off. He can bully you. He's going to make his free throws.
He's the claw.
When he's playing, absolutely.
He's going to be tough. But I say if we pay attention, Dallas is going to. And how did we get to a place where you can place professional teams in Las Vegas? Antitrust rules said that you couldn't. That Vegas you were prohibited from putting teams in Las Vegas. The dollar is right. But the point is that at some point in time, you're going to have players who are in Las Vegas, and they tell you if you play a professional sport, you can't bet on that sport. Okay. So how about the people that bet on NBA, football players who bet on the NBA team? They've been in trouble. They bet on baseball. They've been in trouble. So you put them at a place where there's gambling. And I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be long because they're alleging that the Kansas City Chiefs, the officials got paid to cheat Buffalo. So it's just too much stuff going on. And I don't like the ideal of, and this is me personally, I'm a purist when it comes to sports. When you get money involved, and maybe I'm naive, maybe it's been there all along, and now it's out in the open. I'd like to deal with it not in the open. Because every time I look at something, I say, I wonder if money had an impact on the outcome of this game. Or the official who made this call, where's his integrity? Because you watch them, they'll stand there, guy get hammered, knocked on the ground, they're like looking around like, okay.
Don't get workers' comp.
Wow.
Well,
workers
yeah,
comp.
I mean, that's probably somebody's background there for a second, but I hear what you're saying there, Mr. Brown, about the Luka deal being a business move. We're hearing 300 million plus that would have went to Luka, that if he stayed with Dallas, and that's why I believe that he had no idea he was getting moved like that. Dallas made that move for I believe it was reasons outside of the game, which, well, I guess, yeah, technically by having to pay him, and plus like what you're talking about with the casinos and all that stuff. Like all that's in part of sports now, because the fantasy basketball, the fantasy football thing got so big, the fan duels and all that stuff, DraftKings. I mean, we're in it now. And
I want to offer my apology.
Oh, no problem.
My apology for wearing a Michigan. I can't stand Michigan, but I was out my yard doing some work, so I needed a sweatshirt on, and this was gifted to me by one of my friends, and he know I hate Michigan.
So you might as well get dirty and sweaty in it out in the yard.
There you go. That's what
There
you.
you go.
That's what you were doing. You're getting it muddy.
So I told
Yeah.
you look at it every now and again. I'm a Michigan State fan. I don't like Michigan at all, but this was one of those gag gifts that one of my buddies gave me. So
Well,
I apologize for having it on.
he picked the. He obviously picked the right team for you.
You're utilizing the
No, he
dirt.
didn't.
Yeah, the right team to get under your skin. That's what your friend did. But
I don't like them at all. And I'm just telling you,
well,
I'm from Michigan and I'm a Michigan State fan. I don't root for any teams outside the state of Michigan. So the Lions, I got beat up over them for years. The Tigers, I'm continuously getting beat up. The Pistons, we lost more games last year than anybody, and we didn't get the #1 draft pick. Rigged.
yeah.
The Red Wings, any team from Michigan, I root for. Now, I'll root for Michigan if they're playing outside the state of Michigan. Other than that, I can't stand it.
Well,
And
okay, all right. So no maize and blue for you. Twan, the Luka to the Lakers. You're a big Laker fan. You're good with this move.
First of all, like I say, good evening, fellas. The biggest thing, man, is it's a twofold portion of it. Are we going to be able to resign Luka? You know what I'm saying? That's going to be the biggest thing. I do disagree with you, Mr. E, on that point. I think the way that the NBA is set up now is so soft, it's so easy that guys are. I mean, like what is he? 25, so he'll be 35. I mean, like, yeah. I see 10 years of him being in LA. There's absolutely no reason why he wouldn't be.
Since we talked about
there's no physicalness to basketball anymore. You know what I'm saying? So he the only part about him will be that same thing that that you said is his willingness to find a way to be in shape and to keep himself in shape. And that's just going to be on him. We just see how those European guys are, as far as like the Eastern Europeans. They don't necessarily value health. I don't. I guess. I mean, and you have to think about it, man. These guys have probably seen more war. I know that me and Tyrone have, me and Mr. 411, but like they've seen war, man. They don't, like when that stuff happens, your mindset isn't thinking to be a 80, 90-year-old man. You're here to live life and try to enjoy it as much as you can. So with that part of it, I think that the Lakers, if they can get him and they can get him to re-sign, which if he's after the money since Dallas dropped him, LA will be his next best choice or chance to get that big money that he wants. So I think he'll stay there. And the business side of it is we see that, Jenny has decided that she'll sell her soul to the devil to put people in the seats.
Oh boy.
She will sell her soul to the devil to put people in the seats. You know what I'm saying? We've kept LeBron way past and done. I don't have enough time to talk about the junk that he's gotten away with that nobody else has, and that she's put up with and allowed him to do as being a player, especially somebody who hasn't been a Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant type player who's brought multiple championships.
The best player in the world or the top player ever? Says he hasn't lived up to Kobe, Wilt Chamberlain, Dude Jabbar.
Hey man, that man pads his stats like a damn like a damn pillow factory. He is a stat padder. And the thing that you guys want to talk about something.
I can't.
He pulled his groin. Hold up real quick for me. He pulled his groin. When the Lakers were about to start facing their toughest competition that they had since Luka got there without Anthony Davis. So we have no defense. We have no defense to talk about. And when Luka and LeBron are there, they give you enough offense to offset some of these bad teams. But now we're about to hit the Nuggets and OKC and all these other teams we about to play over the next couple of weeks. And all of a sudden, King James is hurt again. Hey, man, I was born at night, but it
He's
wasn't.
20 years
I was born
old.
at night,
It's
but
a
it wasn't
fact.
last night.
Isaiah Thomas said that LeBron James is the best basketball player ever.
And he said Michael Jordan wasn't worth a damn either. So you take them two pieces of wood and you roll them together and see if you can start a fire with it. My thing is, you know, yeah, you can do something with it.
That Michael Jordan wasn't nothing.
Hey,
but
no.
With that being said, like you say, the thing is, if we can get somebody, you know, if we can sign him again, he is going to be one of those guys that can fill up the seats. He'll be able to give you the offensive output. They're gonna have to pair him with somebody defensively, like Dallas was doing. You know, they had got those slim defensive guys, Gafford and Likely, and the other guy, I can't think of his name right, but they had those guys that were kind of interchangeable 3 through 5 as far as like being able to play off the ball, play defense, get rebounds, not look for offensive sets for him. PJ Washington. So yeah, that was what like you said, the biggest thing with Dallas was it wasn't Luka, it was that owner, and the eventual move to Las Vegas. And they'll compromise. They'll probably put a team in, they'll put a team back in Dallas and put them in the Eastern
put the Mavericks
Conference.
in Dallas.
Yeah,
they might keep the name there and keep them the Dallas Mavericks.
And then they'll let them go over there and redo something and eventually Las Vegas is gonna have all 4 major sports there. I don't know which ones they don't have. Where they got football and
they started off with WNBA. They started off with the Aces in the WNBA. Yeah. Then they brought in the Knights for the NHL.
So they got hockey. So they got hockey. They're still missing baseball and basketball. They'll have them.
Well, the A's are on the way. The A's are on the way.
They're there now. They're finishing their stadium.
Okay. So I mean, like they're not gonna hold basketball out of there. So that's just naive for us to think that way. So they'll have all the sports there. And like you say, now Dallas is still a big enough big enough of a revenue that they're not gonna want to not have a professional basketball team there. So they will put somebody back there.
I'll beg to differ with you. I'll beg to differ. Because Seattle was a heck of a basketball city.
Yeah, but Seattle ain't Dallas, Mr. Brown. Seattle ain't Dallas. Seattle ain't Dallas. Dallas got that oil money out there in Texas is way different, baby. That stuff is.
I'm gonna tell you this.
Seattle
I don't tech money, and that tech money run long and deep.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna say this, guys. I'm gonna say this. Don't worry. There's gonna be a team in Seattle because they still have the Sonics name and brand in Seattle, and they gonna put a team in Vegas, which will be Dallas. So and then they're gonna replace Dallas. They're gonna bring back the Mavericks to Dallas. So they have it all covered.
When you talk about Seattle, you got to understand. Boeing make airplanes all over the world. That's their world headquarters. That's one of the largest airplane building or aircraft building in the world. They built everything up there. So
they're gonna have a team in Seattle. No, they're gonna have one in there.
Time that's all I'm saying. I'm not gonna say it's not, but I'm just saying it's taking a long time to replace them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say, and that's my thing. If why is it taking so long to put somebody back up there? You know what I'm saying? Like that should have been something that should have been. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, then why is it again?
No. That's what I'm saying.
That's not going to be a problem in Dallas. You're not going. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Dallas isn't going. You're not going to worry about having to build an arena. You're not going to have to worry about any of that stuff that you need to put a team in Dallas. If they pull out, I guarantee you, within 2 or 3 years. Dallas isn't going to just let that basketball money slide. You know what I'm saying?
No, they won't.
And so, and the NBA doesn't want to let it slide. You know what I'm saying? You want those guys in there. You want those teams
Okay.
in a place like that. So, and hey, again, I get it. Hey, it's just that the league is so watered down at this point. You know what I'm saying? Introducing 3 more teams and maybe the next 10 years, man, it's like what I mean, you're gonna have to, in order to do that, you're gonna have to do something to offset how poorly these guys are playing, in the product that they're putting out. So
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
that's my take on that.
They can keep playing poorly because we keep paying for the tickets. And we're talking about what the Dallas Mavericks bring, money, revenue-wise. They are up, 4% from even last year. They're the 9th rated team. As for worth, something in the neighborhood between 4.7 and $5 billion. They're in the top value teams in the NBA. So they're worth nearly $5 billion plus dollars on the market right now. So if it will benefit to go out there, she will move the team out there, and probably will happen. And before you know it, if they go out there, it probably will increase. Las Vegas, I mean, boy, who doesn't want to go to Las Vegas and see bringing on a new product out in Las Vegas? So it'll be interesting. Again, the business of the NBA, they're a top team as valued. They're the top teams valued in the NBA, and who doesn't want to increase, their value anymore? They have the possibilities, and she's definitely one of them.
I lived in Vegas, and I tell you, it's not all of that. I lived there for 8 years, and I got to tell you, I was happy to leave.
Well,
you ready to go?
But to the thought of people, that's something new, right? I mean, it's just like blowing up the hotel. Everybody wanted to go to the Wynn Hotel. You go there, you see it, you're like, okay, what's next? Well, it's 5 years or 10 years. Next, keep going. And that's the way, as you said, Mr. Brown, that's capitalism in America. That's business in America. Definitely NBA.
But it can't accommodate all the people. If you know anything about Vegas, 90% of the people come to the Strip. They don't get outside the Strip, but they come to the Strip. Now, you get off the Strip, there's criminals, there's a little bit of everything. But the infrastructure can't support all this stuff they're putting in. There's water shortages. There's all sorts of stuff. They went a year where they told people you can't water your grass, and then they changed the law and said you have to put in what they call a Southwest motif. That's anything but grass. These golf courses out there use a lot of water. So all I'm saying to you is that Vegas, on the face of it looks good. But if you live there, it's a different animal.
Well, they're gonna have to figure that out because it looks like they keep trying to bring franchises over there, which means they gotta have fans there all season to help support that. We'll see how it rolls, but one way or another, they're gonna have some team over there. Then we'll see how long it lasts, and then we'll see how long it lasts. Yeah,
it's interesting. It's intriguing. It's fun. It's exciting. It's an afterthought. It's a thought. It's good.
Yeah. Hey, right here at the bottom of the screen, Stephen A. Smith fires back after the LeBron James confrontation. I have to get you guys thought on this because and just a slight background drop for this before you guys speak on it. But Stephen A. Smith was on air, and he aired out his grievances about LeBron as the father, the orchestrator of putting Bronny in a position where, of a laughable type of situation right now, where he's in the league, but he's in the G League, he's in the NBA, he's got a guaranteed contract, all this stuff. But in other words, there was just a lot of things that he said about the Bronny situation. And so LeBron decided to confront him in the Thursday night game against the Knicks. Got into his face courtside at the Laker game. By the way, LeBron left the huddle, went over, threw some curse words at Stephen A. Told him keep his son name out of his mouth. That's the best way I can put that. So on and so forth. So then Stephen A. comes back and explains himself on this situation. So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts on this? And let me know who was in the right, who was in the wrong with this, and who wants to kick this off.
Well, I'll talk about it.
All right, kick it off there. E.
Both of them were right. Right? It's
Two
just
rights.
it's probably the way it was done, right? I wonder if it was, another announcer, because many of them have said things about Bronny, which is very true. At 19 and 18 and 16-year-old, I was better than Bronny James. Bronny James is not an NBA player. Bronny James, at best, is a D-League player, right? But if you are LeBron James, such as what many people do, how many lawyers you know that their sons become lawyers when they go to the same law school that they went to? Are they deserving or not? So that's just the way it is. I probably would have done the same thing. I don't know if I would have done it that way, but then again, maybe I would have walked over too at halftime or time out or whatever and said something because I wanted to face him man to man, and I know I tower over him, at 6'9" and he's 5'1", right? And he runs his mouth all the time, right? I'm probably gonna stand up for my son too. Would I use those words? Probably so. Would I be wrong? Probably so. Would I be right in some ways? Probably so. And as Stephen A. said, I'll just call it like I said. I'm a journalist, and this is the way it is. So we can go on and on about who was right and who was wrong, or if it was moral, or if it was ethical, or if it was done the right way, right? Anybody can say, no, this was wrong, and I would have done it like this. I would have done it like that. It's one of those situations where you don't know. But this happens all the time, okay? You just might not hear about it as much as that one person took it, okay, and it was on the screen and it got all over the public. But it is interesting, it's good, it's fun, it's media, it's journalism, it's whatever you call it. It's a guy defending his son right here, right? By the way, again, his son is not a good basketball player, probably will never develop into one, but because of who his dad is, he got in the game. So under whatever circumstances that he was presented with of getting in the NBA or making his money, whether it was college NIL or whatever the reason, because of who his dad is, it happened. That's where it is. Both of the guys were right. And you can pluck away any way you want to about he should have did it this way. He shouldn't have said that. He shouldn't have looked that way. Or if he would confront anybody else other than Stephen A., the big mouth.
So before we go to you, Mr. Brown, uh, I do think there's some wrong here somewhere. That in my opinion on this, like it's not the wrong that LeBron is upset about the statements. I don't think Stephen A. is wrong because he's doing his job as a journalist, or he is a journalist that became, this sports personality. He's doing his job within his field, and he's talking about an NBA player. Bronny is a NBA player. He signed a guaranteed NBA contract, so now he's no longer just a kid because he's 20, so he's an adult. So he's not a kid either, and he's an NBA player. He has a guaranteed $8 million contract. And we all pretty much feel this way. I don't know about you, Mr. Brown, but I think he's in there because of his dad. He's in this position, and we're not saying that that's wrong. But he says you are in this position. You can get the same treatment as any other NBA player. And I think where LeBron went wrong for me is that Bronny is your son, but he's also your coworker. Like he plays for the Lakers. He's a teammate. He's a player. So now he's susceptible to criticism like anybody else. And so, I think that where he went wrong, LeBron, is by choosing the timeout in a live game to go after somebody who's watching it, who's a bystander in the game. He's a fan. Stephen A. at that point is a fan at the game. What would have happened? What could have happened there if Stephen A. had security and LeBron walks up to him like that, and his security jumps in, and now they doing something to LeBron, and now LeBron gets injured. I think that's where I think LeBron went wrong as far as if he wanted to say something to Stephen A, he could have called him, like Stephen A said. You could have called him, you could have texted him, set up a meeting, meet after the game, something, but he chose to do it during the game. So for me, I think if he had chose another route to air his grievance, now me personally, I'd have been totally okay with that. But what do y'all think about that? And then Brian, you can give your thoughts.
Well, thank you. But I'm going to take a diametrically opposed opinion of the two of you. And it's not because Big Face has always got his mouth in somebody's business.
Is that Stephen A? Are you feeling Stephen A?
I'm just saying. You look at that guy's face, he had the biggest face in America. So I'm just saying.
I thought you said biggest. Okay.
Here's what I would challenge both of you. How many players that were drafted before Bronny that are worse players than him? You got people that were drafted before him averaging 1.7. The highest is 2.3. All right. That's that man's child. And when you bring a child into this world, you're going to protect your child at all costs, right, wrong, or indifferent. Now, you're saying that it's his job to report. Okay, report, but don't be discriminatory about your reporting. What I mean by there are worse players in the league than Bronny James. Now, I'm going to give you a classic example. Remember the Atlanta Hawks? You guys was on the road. General manager brought his son in, ruined your team, set y'all back 5 or 6 years. Nobody talk about that. This man has lived, and I'm just going to say, I think LeBron James is the greatest player in the history of the NBA, my personal opinion.
Okay. Your opinion.
The volume of work, championships, and what goes on. I've never been, nor will I ever be a Michael Jordan fan. It's not because I'm a Detroit Pistons fan. It's because Michael Jordan's proclivity for standing up for things that are antithetical to the will of the people. Same thing with, whites buy Nikes too, so I'm not going to support the Martin Luther. Nobody asked who bought your shoes. They asked you to assist in getting Martin Luther King Day as a federal holiday. You probably would have sold more shoes. Then to say that if a player doesn't stand for the flag, he should be put out of his sport. Since when that breaks the law? So I'm going off on a tangent, but I'm going to come back. Stephen A. Smith is always, forever, lambasting somebody for what? Ratings. Now, if you're working for ratings, and that man just told you, hey, keep my son's name out of your mouth. It's just that we can't deal in hypotheses. The fact is, he confronted him, told him what he wanted to tell him, and he walked away.
I want to see him do that to other people that talk about his son.
Exactly.
Who else did you know talk about his son?
Jaylen Brown. He just played against Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown said he's not an NBA player. He said that when he went to watch him during the summer league, and he didn't confront Jaylen Brown.
So now let's talk about arenas. You said you're better. He said he's better than Bronny, right? That's a ball player.
No doubt.
But that's a ball player telling us what another ball player is, and you compare. All right. Excuse me. We're more apt to accept what another ball player is saying as opposed to somebody that's not on the court. Here's what I'll share with you. How many of you know Stephen A. Smith? Do you know him?
I know him as much as I know LeBron James.
Right.
I know him. I know him as much as I know LeBron James. In fact, I probably know LeBron, Stephen A. Smith more than I know you, based on what I've heard and or read. And your point of that is?
My point is that Stephen A. has always been this guy who pull the scabs off of people and then try and run them from because they don't agree with. You remember Big House Games?
He gets paid $100 million over the next 5 years.
Well,
it doesn't make him right. It doesn't make him right.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just saying to you and E and you guys say,
yeah,
LeBron James would not walk up on Detroit player Stewart, okay, and say that about him.
But you don't know that.
That's what I'm saying. You know, both of them are wrong and both of them are right in different aspects. So you can pick apart any part that you want to, right? It's not a.
Well, what I'm going to say is, I'll share this with you. All right. Stephen A. Smith has a job to do, but don't single my son out when there are other people who are worse off than him and getting paid. All right, everybody's getting paid in the NBA.
Right. Absolutely right.
So, if you're going to single my child out, then I'm going to say something to you, whether you like it or not. I'm going to just step to you and tell you what.
I do the same thing. I can't tell you how many times I've done that.
But gentlemen, what second round pick has an $8 million guaranteed contract this year? What second round pick has an $8 million guaranteed contract and plays part time in the NBA?
Nepotism is everywhere. Prime example, what you just said, right? Easy. That's easily conclusive. And the answer comes out to it was rights and it was wrongs, right? And let's talk about what Michael Jordan, let's reference to what you mentioned when you said I'm going off kilter a little bit right here. In the times when Michael Jordan was saying those things, it's different from what LeBron can say and do now, right? This is one reason why Isaiah Thomas doesn't like or puts LeBron as the best player in the world. He does not like Mike, not only for the reasons what you said, but what Mike came into Chicago and took over. You got Isaiah telling lies, okay, not lies, but making up his stories how he protected Mike in Chicago from the gangsters when he came. He liked it. And Isaiah still crying like a little Chicago puppy out in the cold and ain't got nowhere to stay or eat, right? Until this day, until Mike apologizes to him. Michael Jordan could not say the things that LeBron or Curry or what these guys can say now, right? He was under a lot of restrictions. And again, everybody's not a foot-stomping activist for civil rights. It just doesn't work that way. It's the different times. I mean, Bill Lambert is still talking about, oh, he's nothing. He's no good. LeBron is bigger. He's stronger. He had more effect. A crying puppy dog Detroit Pistons from Isaiah Thomas and his little flunky dudes are still like little babies, okay? Isaiah Thomas can't even accept that Curry is a better player than he was in his day. Stop crying, Michigan, the shirt that you have on that you don't even like.
Mr. Brown.
I heard you, but I tuned you out because I'm going to say this. Say what you will. Have you ever been to Chicago?
Several times. And you know what?
And what do you know?
It's one of my favorite restaurants. I walked in Grants Park, right? I've been in Trump Towers, right? Walked in some of his $5 million penthouses. I like the activity. I like the action. I like to go on the cruise. I've been there filming, watching several movies. I like the atmosphere at certain times. Been to Cabrini Green, right? Overlooking of it, saw it when it was blown up. Yeah, I like a lot about Chicago, historic place in America. Yeah.
So I asked you a question. Have you ever been to Chicago?
Hey, listen.
Yes. Sound like yes.
I like the cold, windy areas. Yeah. Chicago is fine with me. Never lived there, but I definitely visited there.
You're a tourist.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't want to live there.
Well,
Don't care enough about it.
It's
This is
cold.
what I'm gonna tell you.
Fine. Okay. Like to visit.
This is what I'm gonna tell you.
Good sights. Good
Chicago.
scenery. Things are nice there. Good atmosphere from what I saw. Like several restaurants, some of the finest places. They're always rated in the top, some of the top restaurants in America. Yeah. Family members there. Yeah.
All right. So this is what I'm gonna say to you. You've been to Chicago, but you haven't been to Chicago. Chicago has
Not the way you see it, not the way you know it.
what I'm gonna say. This is what I'm gonna say to you. Same thing. People say I've been to Detroit. Well, no, you haven't been to Detroit. There are parts of Detroit you better not venture in and go out.
And I don't want to. There are a lot of things. And a lot of
when
things
Isaiah tell you,
because it's not
when
conducive
Isaiah
to
tell
what I
you,
need, right?
when Isaiah tell you he makes it palatable for you to be in Chicago, I'm telling you, you got to believe that because where Isaiah and those
I'm pretty
guys
sure
grew
the
up,
same things. I'm pretty sure the same things would be in Compton and certain places I wouldn't go. You know, I've been in LA before, and people say, don't go to Compton, don't go to even West Hollywood, right? So I'm pretty sure, but it's part of a crying theme. You talk about the Michael Jordan meme when he's crying. I'm talking about the Isaiah Thomas 40 years after the fact crying. You didn't make the Olympic team, so stop crying. Okay?
Hold on.
Okay.
It wasn't matter. He
Stop
didn't
crying.
make it.
Charles Oakley probably said it best when he said, right? He doesn't like you, man, and you don't like him. Stop crying.
Right? They don't like each other. We know that.
They don't like each other. It's okay. The world will keep spinning on its axis. Everything will be okay. Stop crying, Isaiah Thomas, right?
Well, I'm gonna hang with the captain. I'm gonna hang with him. If he cry, I'm gonna shed some tears too. So that's my man.
I cry because he's a sad person to keep this going on. Michael Jordan's not gonna apologize. He doesn't care.
Hey, neither one of those guys are gonna back down on each other.
Michael Jordan doesn't care. Okay.
Yeah,
but he would never be on TNT or ESPN. His mindset is far from that. I'll be an owner. I'll sell my team. I don't care. I'll live in North Carolina. I'll be a Republican. That's okay. I don't care what they think. Okay. I'm not going to sit up with Isaiah Thomas, Shaq, or Kobe, or whoever else. I'm going to let them do what they want to do. Call me a person that don't believe in civil rights, or call me a person that he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Gentlemen,
he doesn't
and
care
I know
about you. He doesn't.
And I know we went. Hey guys, and I know we went to Isaiah.
Okay, watch this. Okay,
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Save this life. You saved this life, Isaiah.
Please.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So we got the Isaiah and the Jordan piece, but let's go back to the LeBron piece as to why we and I think we all have different. Well, we kind of not on the same page, and that's fine on this LeBron situation. But for me, it was that my issue with LeBron was that okay, Bronny is an NBA player. I mean, can we all agree that he is a NBA roster player?
Everybody in NBA can play.
So he's going to get this kind of criticism if he's not. And again, he's referring to the NBA. Bronny's not getting it done at this stage. He said he probably will one day, but he was critical of it. And my problem with LeBron was, it's your son, but he's your teammate. He's a player now. He is a grown man. He's 20 years old. And this can happen. And it does happen to players. Like Stephen A gets on Ross show on the Sterovision. And somebody else called somebody, Skip called Chris Bosh, Spice Bosh or something like that. I mean, this stuff goes on and on and on and on. Player Magic Johnson had Tragic Johnson. Kobe didn't pass the ball against Phoenix. LeBron melted away against Dallas and another time in the playoffs to get with the Heat. I mean, it's gonna happen to all of them. So, and by the way, LeBron actually, when his mother got up during the game against Boston when KG and Paul Pierce and LeBron, they all got tangled up out of bounds right there in front of his mother. And then his mother, Gloria James, got up and started yelling at Kevin Garnett. And LeBron turned around and said, "Sit your ass down." He said that to his mother. So his mother was getting involved with NBA business. But he set her straight, you know what I'm saying, telling his mom to stay out. So why is he going to come in and bully somebody because his son is being criticized? Or
What
even him and his son?
What do you
Because
do?
he got up, because he walked up on Stephen A. Smith first of all, out of nowhere. Because he did it out of nowhere. Walked up in him and told him, keep my son out your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like in his face, doing that. When you're supposed to be over there with your team playing basketball.
I
You
think
could have handled that. You could have handled that in a different setting. You ambushed that man. You had plenty of time, plenty of
Stephen
opportunities
A. knew
to
that
reach
was
out to that
gonna
man.
come.
Stephen
I
A.
mean,
Stephen A. was
but if we leave it open to guys doing this, what's going to happen when a player walks up on somebody and then they get injured because there's a big scuffle and you got security and guards and secret security and all these guys start jumping on people, breaking legs and stuff. And then what?
That's
Like
true. And I
you
like that
know,
power that the basketball players have now. A guy that can say, hey, pay me $300 million for 5 years. Pay me. Guys, even like Curry, becoming the assistant general manager at his college. I think it opens up great opportunity. And then with great opportunity comes what? Mistakes or questionable things they may say or do. I like the empowerment of people. Great, good. But back to what you were saying, you're absolutely right. What's going to happen with this empowerment that a man walks up on another man, right, and say something? I want to see LeBron do that to some of the other people that's talking about his son. Yeah, Stephen A. Yeah, I probably would have walked up to him, probably would have said, "Put that in your mouth," you know. But to say, it's all right or it's all wrong, it has its good, it has its bad, it has its negative, it has its positive, right? Say it to somebody else. Say it to
Are
that
you
guy in
familiar with
Detroit that was ready to just punch him out. Look, he was ready to go get LeBron James, man. LeBron James, like, what did I do? I just fouled him, right? Okay. That's why LeBron has a label on him of soft guy, right? Not a killer, right? I'm not saying you have to be a killer. I'm just saying what the people say. They say that's what separates him from Michael Jordan, right? He's not a killer, right? So if he was a killer, maybe he'd have 75,000 career points at this time, right? Maybe. He's played long enough. He's done it long enough at the highest level that anybody has ever done it. Is Curry the best shooter ever? He only 7 shots away from 4,000. Is he really the best shooter? Is he really should be in the GOAT conversation? It makes good conversation, just like we're talking now.
well, where do we go from here? I mean, he confronted him. He did it. Some of us like it, some of us don't. But is this something that you guys think should continue though? Do you think, hey, if somebody else, another sports caster says something about a player, should that player, at a game or in a situation like that, walk up on him and tell him to be quiet?
How many
I
people
mean,
do that other than LeBron? How many people can do that other than LeBron? LeBron's status is so high. Should they? Should they not? Right? Where's anything going? Where's your life going tomorrow with a federal job? Where's your life going tomorrow with your kids and children? Where's your life going to go down to McDonald's and keep getting $1 meals that's harming and hurting you? Where does it stop? We don't know, right? That's the suspense and the challenge of a better, greater tomorrow or a worse tomorrow, right? What's right and what's wrong? That is a big question. That's a good question.
I'm gonna vehemently disagree with that assessment. When you talk about tomorrow, every day is a gift, and we have to live from where we stand. Some people can't afford to eat anything other than McDonald's. So we have to respect where they are in their
What are we
life.
going to do? What are we going to do? I'm not disrespecting it. I'm talking about the way it is. I'm not disrespecting it. What are you going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? We have a decision to make every day. There's challenges of every day. It's not a matter of disrespect or disagree. These are facts that's laid out. I respect tomorrow.
I'm saying to you, E, I'm saying to you that I vehemently disagree with your assertion of what people eat and how they eat, because people in this country, it's going to get worse before it gets better. All right.
Okay.
And
probably
people
so.
live where they stand, but that doesn't mean that they're going to stay there. They're
Absolutely
there for that
right.
moment.
So what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? I'm not degrading people. I'm saying, what are we going to do about it? Some people can't afford but potato chips and Coca-Cola. What are we going to do about it?
Why does it become my issue? So when you
Because
say we
are society, we are the world. We can make a difference.
No, we're not. Because where we are right now in this country, where we are, and I'm gonna just say this for G Wiz's sake, all right?
Yeah, say it.
21 years I lived outside this country. I lived all over the world. And I've saw things and seen things and see how people live and what life has to offer them. I come home, I see things, and I say, man, that doesn't look good. I'm not going to even talk about this election because people voted for what they thought was best. And now they have to deal with their reality. Their reality is this guy had no intentions of assisting you or anybody else. His sole purpose in that Project 2025 was to assist.
So what can we do about it? I'm not degrading people when I say dollar meals at McDonald's. I'm saying what we're going to do about it. There are people out there like this. This is the challenge for today. The same thing. I've always had this theory about basketball is life, sports. Oh, that's life. We are in this together. We like certain things. It has good, it has bad. What can Eric Hightower add to the life, right? What can I do? I can talk about the issues. I know darn well how some people live and can't afford it. What can I do about it? What can I say about it? What can I help? Whether I lived in Europe or Chicago or Georgia, what can I do? What can I say? What can I bring to the forefront right there? It's not a low grade. My dad is from one of the poorest places cities in Macon, Georgia, right? I'm not. I know the stories. I saw the stories, right? I heard them. I drive in them. Bad places are everywhere. What can I do? I've done several things, if you ask me. So what can I do? What can I do as an individual, me, myself? We know the powers that be, whether whoever is president, right? Or whoever is legislator, whoever. We know the powers that be. We're not going to deny that no more than we're going to try to take something from somebody that can't afford or need Medicaid or Medicare, right? Or don't have $1 million or $5 million or $10 million, or go to HBCU schools or go to this other school, right? Or going to sell shoes or say the things that Michael Jordan say. What can Isaiah Thomas do? Or Joakim Noah or Kevin Garnett, right? That doesn't have nothing to do with Michael Jordan, but they're from that area. What can we do? What can they do? Everybody can play a role if it's just helping the 10,000 people in your community, if it's just a larger scale of what's happening or what's going on. Yeah, we don't. Do we have some power? Limited, maybe, yes, okay. What can we do? I will never berate or degrade the socioeconomic of certain groups of people, right? That don't mean I can't talk about them. What can I do? How can I help, right? There are people that's come on this show right here, right, that I contributed to their funding to help the community better. Maybe it was this much. I can't help this much. Maybe I can do this much. What can I do? What kind of encouragement? What kind of funds I can tell them that's available? How can I uplift them to say, hey, you don't need a college degree. You don't need a technical degree. You need encouragement. You need hope. You need to feel that you can fulfill and help in your capacity. And as an educated man in America, to some degree, I'm proud of that, right? And I'm going to talk about it and help where I can.
All right, so let's tackle this, finish up this LeBron and Stephen A issue because it seems like that's sports does it, it dovetails into life, and but still with the LeBron situation, with the Stephen A situation, um, is this going to be the end of how things are handled with amongst people? And Antoine is back too. I think he was listening to some of the back and forth on that when he was, offline, but he was able to get back on now. He's in a better location. So Twan, your we had some back and forth on the LeBron Stephen A and how it was handled. Uh, we would love to hear your side of things. How did you feel about the situation being handled?
All right. And I did miss this last little bit. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I did miss this last little bit. I always like listening to Mr. Brown and Mr. E, man. You guys you drop so much knowledge, like you say, some of the things that the younger folks need to hear. You know what I'm saying? So I applaud both of you gentlemen for that, because you bring an insight in some of the things that my generation, we knew about, but you guys lived it. So firstly, the situation with LeBron, he was totally out of pocket as a professional. He was absolutely totally out of pocket. You do not leave a huddle in the middle of a game to go address a commentator about a comment that was made about your son. You don't do that. You absolutely don't do that. That was not the time nor the place for that. If we're gonna do that, then what happens when and Ryan Clark made a very great point about this. What happens if LeVar Ball does that? What happens if T Morant does that? You know what I'm saying? What happens when those guys go up and get in Skip Bayless's face? You know what I'm saying? What happens then? My thing with this, LeBron should be suspended. Adam Silver needs to come in and have a backbone. This is not, we don't allow fans to interact with players while they're in the game. If they get rowdy, if they start cursing, if they start doing anything and are disruptive to the players, they'll get them out of there. They'll ban guys. They will do all of that. So if that can happen to a fan, it definitely can't come from a player doing it to, you know what I'm saying? If a fan can't do it to a player cannot do it to a fan. You know what I'm saying? So and that was my biggest first part of that was the reaction that he did, and then the language that he used. You know what I'm saying? He was cursing this man out. If you're so worried about your kid, what about my kids that I'm paid this money to have sitting around you and you cussing somebody out like that? That's not professional. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're held, and whether you like it or not, you're held to a higher standard. People that to whom much is given, much is expected. That is a true statement. That is something that we value as people. That we as a modern society, we tend to value that kind of a thing. And for somebody to take that and just throw it to the side because you're pissy about your son being commented on, I don't want to hear it. Like I say, Adam Silver needs to get in. LeBron needs about a 3-game suspension. And I'm telling you that is something, because if you don't nip this in the bud, it will continue to happen. It will be something it'll snowball into something else and something else. And then it's gonna, you know what I'm saying? Then you'll get something where it's a really bad thing that happens. And it was because you didn't check the front part of it. Second thing, LeBron can't really be mad at anybody. He made his son, he got his son drafted. That boy was not the 55th best person in coming out of college. He shouldn't have been drafted in the first freaking place. So you got him drafted. Anybody else remember the 55th pick having a draft party? Anybody? Anybody see second round pick have a draft party? No. This the next to the last person or whatever that got drafted in the draft had a draft party. Why? Because his dad wanted it. Okay, so his dad wanted that. His dad has him not playing in the G League like he needs to be playing. If you want him to develop and actually be a good player, he needs to go and play against a level of competition that is really above where he is. He's not a G League player. You know what I'm saying? But if you want him to at least get that far, let him stay down there and let him work his way up to where he is. And then when he gets there, when he gets to the, you know what I'm saying, you're holding up a roster spot. You got a spot where somebody who isn't named LeBron James Jr. has to bust their tail. We don't know what part, you know what I'm saying? We don't know how many times they've had 10-day contracts. We don't know how many times they've had to go to Europe to play ball. We don't know how many times they've been in G League teams, you know what I'm saying? But these guys have incentives and things that are built into their contracts that are minute based. So I'm giving minutes to LeBron James Jr. who ain't worthy of it. And then I'm losing out on the other side of this. Then, you know what I'm saying? Like this may be, Dalton Connect may have so many minutes that he needs to play to get a stipulation that gives him some more money. You know what I'm saying? But I'm losing this out, or I'm one of these guys that's trying to get my minutes up to get, like I say, the incentives that go along with playing ball, but I can't get them because you're sticking your son out here to play. And then when he plays like crap. I don't want to use the word that I want to use, but he is not NBA ready. That doesn't take, anybody you don't need a 55-year degree in basketball to understand that. You see him. He's 6'1". He can't guard anybody. He's not a lockdown defender. He's not a great passer. So what else, you know what I'm saying? What else is he out there for? Because he's LeBron James Jr. And when somebody criticizes that, when somebody gets onto that, and then you turn around as the father, you know what I'm saying, as a dad, if that's something that you want to correct, again, you handle that on the side. You don't handle that in the middle of a game and use the language that you used in front of paying fans, because you wouldn't want that to happen. LeBron's gotten people thrown out of games before because they've talked about him and given him the grief for it, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But my whole situation with him, I have absolutely, that to me was about, and for a man that has held himself, he's probably had more critique on him than anybody in the history of any sport. From the time he's been a 17, 18, no, even that. But, when he was junior, sophomore in high school, you know what I'm saying? This has been about 30 something years or 25 years of him having to take the critiques and the things that go along with him being who he is. And most of the time he's handled himself as respectfully and as honorably as you would want somebody to do. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there are things that you can and you cannot do. And what he did and the way he handled himself was tacky. To me, that was absolute tactless. And again, as we've all, like you said, you talked about the numbers, how the numbers of basketball has fallen. And my thing is now, I mean, what do you, are we gearing it up so we can have another Malice in the Palace, something, like something like that happen again? But you're setting up something to go wrong if you don't nip this crap in the bud. And thank y'all for listening to me rant about that, because I like I say that I don't like that, man. I do not like it.
All right. So you told us how you felt, how you really feel there. And man, I soaked all of that in. Uh, Mr. Brown, you wanna respond to that?
No, not
Was
really.
there
I
any?
just want to, you know, pardon me.
Yes, sir. We hear you.
So just for the record, I was googling LeBron James G League. So his average is 17.3 points, 4.1 assists, and 1.6 steals in 12 games
Yeah.
for the club this far this season. So it sounds like to me that there's some potential there. You have a lot of people that blossom in high school but don't blossom in college. There is a maturation process to any sport. Some people get there quicker than others. Some people get there quicker than others, and others just time to arrive. There have been a number of great players in the NBA that took some time for them to get there. So I'm a wait and see guy. Either he will make it or he won't. And I think we're premature because our feelings are tied to LeBron for getting his son in the league. And I say bully for him if he can do that. And it's a double-edged sword. One way it cuts is that people don't like it. The other way it cuts is that people say, well, at least he was able and had the clout to get his son into the NBA. It's the same thing. We should be more upset with the way the coaching carousel go in the NBA. You got some bum coaches, and all they do is move from team to team and get paid. You take a guy like Mike Brown, because the player got upset with him, they fired him. So I just say the playing field is always going to be tilted in the favor of people who have the money and make the rules, and it's an uphill battle. So kudos to LeBron James for having enough clout to get his son in, because the only thing that's going to happen, he will either succeed or he won't. And tomorrow will reveal that, not today.
And I don't want to just hop, but I have no problem. I have no problem with the you're right with the nepotism thing. And any father, what I'm saying, anybody that has the ability and the ability to do and influence things, that's what I'm saying. I get that. Hey, you get him there. That's no problem with me. You making an opportunity. We all have had an opportunity because somebody looked out for us somewhere, whether we knew it or not. You know what I'm saying? We've done some work. We put some work in, and somebody probably saw it from afar, or somebody saw it off, and you don't know whether somebody gave you a chance or somebody that you knew may have given you a chance, and that was a thing, and you got in there and you worked for it. My only issue is you give him the opportunity, right? You're giving him the opportunity, but make him earn it. That's my only thing. Make him earn it. You're right. He has some potential there, but let him stay down there. Let him stay and work his way through, and the highs and lows and the goods and bads about being a G League player, and learn how to be a professional at that, that part of it. He's not. He's getting the benefit of, he is just totally getting the benefit of who his father is, of him being on that NBA roster. And that, you can't tell me nothing no different, because like you said, we're criticizing, we're talking about a guy that we've never, like I said, somebody in a position that we've never talked about before. You know what I'm saying? 5 years ago, we wouldn't be talking about the 55th pick and whether they got if they got a run in the NBA, we know that they earned it. You know what I'm saying? We know that they had to earn it. But now
Yeah.
we have a guy that's in there that's doing that, and we know that the only reason he's getting that run, he hasn't earned it. His dad is there.
And
Well, guys,
it's called
what?
life situation. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just called life, and everybody's going to have his opinion about it, right? I
Well,
don't believe LeBron James is the greatest player ever. Mr. Brown does. That's okay. That's fine, right? That's fine. That's great.
yeah.
It's an interesting scenario. Like we talk about nepotism, how it works, how the money works, right? All it's just interesting the way things work, right? What's my role in that? Little to none or nothing. It's interesting to look at it, right? But there are aspects in everybody's life. Your child, your son, whoever you're guardian over, or who you're related to. This is the way structures are made real or unreal, right?
Yeah.
True
Yeah.
or false. Media created, right? To a large part, right? This is where a lot of things were built. Right or wrong, look at it from a sociological aspect, right? In sociology, you're not necessarily looking at it from right or wrong. You're looking at, hey, this is why it happened, and this is what these people do, right? So you can look at it from a philosophical aspect, right? Why it happened, or this is why it happened, and this is what's supposed to happen. Says who? So you got to look at it from every angle, and opinions are always appreciated to people that can be open-minded and say, maybe yes,
Well,
maybe this is my thought.
yeah, and again, guys, I think that we have elements of all this that we, either agree with or have agreed to kind of deal with. Like me personally, I wasn't on board with the LeBron forcing this issue. If he gets drafted, he gets drafted. You know what I'm saying? That's how I looked at it. But hey, he used it. He got him in there. But my point is, now that he's in there and he is a NBA player, then it's just time to let him be an NBA player. I mean, to me, he's trying to have it both ways. You work your way to get him in, right? We all agreeing that Brian was kind of placed in here to whatever degree you think he was placed or not. He was placed in this position, but now you can't say anything about him. You can't be critical. You know what I'm saying? You can't be critical, without somebody getting back in your face. Like you're trying to have it all. You know what I'm saying? And in my
You
opinion,
know,
that it just ain't gonna work that way.
here's what I'm going to leave it alone after this. I would
Yes, sir.
encourage everybody who watch the game of basketball and who criticize LeBron James to look on some of these benches at these guys that sit down to the end that don't play a second all year.
But they don't have an $8 million guaranteed contract, Mr. Brown.
No, hold on now. Hold on.
Not
Some of these
not
guys
not
are making
not just coming in, not just coming in like this. I'm talking about coming in the way he
yes,
came in.
sir. You might want to Google some of those guys are getting $5.5, $6.3 million.
And they're playing part time. They're playing part time in the league. They play. They.
They're not.
I mean,
This. I'm gonna put it to you like this.
okay.
This is a business, and LeBron James' son, whether you like him or not, his jersey is selling. He is generating money. That's the bottom line. Don't care who you are, where you come from. He's generating dollars. He has a grossing jersey that people are buying. So
Yes, he
whatever
does.
we talk about here, whatever we say, it don't matter because the bottom line is it's all about the mighty dollar. If he wasn't selling anything, if he wasn't making money for that team, he wouldn't be there.
You're right.
But Mr. Brown, how much of that is directly attached to his father? We know a lot of it is directly attached to LeBron. People, and I'm not going to say that you're one of them, but I've been arguing with one of my partners all day long. We've been going back and forth. And this boy, I don't care how much logic and how much common sense, how many numbers I throw at him, he's going to give me some everything else that's just going to be LeBron's the best, regardless of what it is. And anybody that has a well, let me just finish with this quick. If the person that, you know what I'm saying, whoever it is that I may like or dislike or whatever, when you give me numbers and you give me something that's tangible, not my own personal opinion about it, but tangible things that you can say, this is what you did and this is what you didn't do, I can at least acknowledge and say, you know what, like Kobe Bryant. Was Kobe did he take too many shots at times? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's was he an arrogant guy that was not always liked by his teammates or even Jordan? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you could take those individual things and say, you know what, yes, because people have come back and said this. Or you can put the numbers up and say that Kobe took too many shots because of his number percentage and this and that. But when you come at LeBron James fans and you give them logical things like he's 4-6 in the finals, oh, that doesn't count now. That, we're more than championships. But okay, well, KD did this. Well, see, KD doesn't have as many championships as LeBron. You get that? It's like the things that when he's great at it. Now the person that has the most points is somehow the greatest person of all time. Nobody ever gave Kareem that credit. Nobody talked about Kareem being the number one player with 6 championships and the most points of all time. Nobody ever gave this man that credit. But as soon as LeBron went over there and cracked those points, oh, he's the greatest thing of all time. And that's my, and that's my bias about that I do not like is the thing that we give him credit for the, he wins the Lifetime Achievement Award. He should get that. But as far as like the best basketball player ever, not in my, I mean, not to me. Not for the way I like the game.
What role has the media played in that? And it still plays that.
A huge role.
The era right now that's just saturated with anybody talking. So the media can put you up and lift you down, such as what I said a minute ago. Michael Jordan could not say the things in the 80s or even in the 90s that LeBron can say now. The media, the ability to come on like we're talking now, right? This wasn't around back then, right? Certain things that he couldn't say as a black man in America, as an athlete in America, that these guys can say now and do. That helps propel you to a greater light, to more conversation, to ability to expose yourself and to be taken up to a level or brought down, right? That's like saying,
I want to say this. First of all,
yes, sir.
I gave you a caveat. I don't like anybody outside the state of Michigan. All right. So if you play in Detroit, I'm a Michigan fan. I only root for teams within the boundaries of the great state of Michigan. So I'm biased.
You know, like Michigan. So
we know, Mr. Brown. It's established.
You might be a man sitting on the island by yourself.
Well, that's where I'm at. So I told y'all right from the rip, I don't root for anybody outside the state of Michigan. That's just it. I don't care for LeBron, Michael, who else. I'm only my focus. But this is what I'm gonna say about mathematics. All right, arithmetic. Yeah. If you're going to college, the first thing they tell you, you can make numbers say anything. You can take numbers and turn them into any category you want them to be. So I don't talk to people about statistical stuff, because I can take statistics and turn them around and make Kobe Bryant the greatest player that's ever played, because I have to look at what he did to get his team over. But having said all that, I watched LeBron James take a team of nobodies when Cleveland. Name me anybody that's on that team, just anybody. You're not going to be able to do it because they're a bunch of
Kevin Love, Kyrie
that we play in now. First league that we played in the last 20 years. So
Ilgauskas was an all-star before LeBron joined the league. Mo Williams was an all-star. They won 60+ games.
Kevin
I
Love.
mean,
Giving me people that didn't go to the playoffs.
hold on, wait a minute now. Wait, but Akeem Olajuwon won championship with no all-stars.
Kevin Love. Hey, watch this right here.
After the fact.
Hey,
I mean,
I'm talking about
hey,
I was going to say, Mr. Brown, if we want to, now, like you say, if we want to go and do that, who did Olajuwon have that first time he went to the finals with Houston against?
no all-stars.
No,
The Knicks.
I ain't talking about when he won. I'm talking about when he went against. Who was it? He lost
What?
to Boston.
Well, that was 86.
Yeah, who was on his team?
Did he have Ralph Sampson?
It was him and Ralph Sampson that year.
Did he have Mad Max?
No, he didn't. No,
that was 90. That was the 94. 90. That was the 94.
Did he have
Sammy
Robbie
Castells?
No, yeah.
In 1995, Olajuwon had 0 all-stars. 94, 95, no all-stars.
Win.
What?
he picked up what you call it.
LeBron had Mo Williams, who was an all-star. He also had a Gaskins who averaged 17 a game.
Clyde came in at the middle end.
I'm just gonna put it to you like this: you can tell me anything
No,
you
I'm
want
just-
to tell me. I'm just a Michigan man. So anything outside the state of Michigan, I don't have a dog in that fight. So,
But but guys, I just want to say, but I need to lay. But guys, I just need to lay this out. We got all these other factors. We get it. I even get the part about, hey, Bronny's averaging this, but hey, such and such over here on the end of the bench, OKC on Atlanta's averaging this. At the end of the day, LeBron James is getting upset because somebody's criticizing his son's his son's performances. Like, why is it okay for LeBron to be able to
Tyrone, you're looking at
get in
it from
people's
the
faces?
official's perspective. You're an official. You're a
I'm looking
policeman
at
of the game. If it's my
But,
son,
I mean,
I'm gonna step to him. I'm gonna step to him. It's just
oh
that simple.
man, oh
So,
man, we're gonna have chaos in the league.
Tyrone have his whistle,
It's inevitable.
and that's your perspective.
Okay, you're okay now. Okay, but he did that. Now, why are you not doing that with somebody else then? Why are you not? I mean, there's a lot of people been criticizing LeBron for Skip Bayless been on him forever.
Players,
Why he get why? I mean, Skip Bayless is not a player.
do they have the audience that Stephen A. Smith had?
I mean, but again, now we're trying to pigeonhole the scenario. I mean,
I just told
because
you,
we
I
can,
only root for Michigan, and I don't care.
I get it. But what I'm saying, why it's got to be somebody else, X amount of followers? Why it can't just be, another person that works for CBS or works for NBC or some, someplace like.
As a parent, you're not dragging my kid down. I'll
He's
drag
a player
you down.
too.
You won't. I don't care what he is.
I believe in that. You're absolutely right. Right? I'm not going to let you just talk about my son and anything.
But he's not just talking about him. He gave facts. He gave stats.
You're right. You're right. He gave facts.
He's not talking about his son.
So he can't. So what we're saying is, so nobody can talk about LeBron.
Bronny James.
Skip Bayless.
He's not talking about Bronny James as an individual. He is talking about Bronny James as a basketball player.
So if Bronny averages 2 points a game,
freaking horrible.
So if he averages 2 points a game for the rest of his career,
he's not good.
They can't say nothing about it. If he go out to a game, let's say he moves up in the NBA later on this season, plays for a week, and he averages, let's say he averages 2 points a game for the last 3 weeks of the regular season, so that nobody can't say that he's playing horrible basketball because LeBron's going to attack him.
Looking at the word nobody. This is an attack on LeBron's son, James, and his daddy. He already don't like the daddy. All right? That's a given. All right? So what I'm going to tell you is this. Behind me is a piece of artwork, right?
Okay.
And that artwork, that piece there is a one of a kind that came from one of my nephews, who's a world-renowned artist. Don't call no names. Ain't no biggie. And I was in his gallery, and somebody said something about him. I was like, hold on, MF. You can't come up in here talking about him. You need to hit the bricks, and I was
Oh
going to come
boy.
with my cousin. What we want to do, that's my nephew. So my son, I'm going to the mat for him. Now, when I get him home, I'm going to tell him, hey, you messed that up. You should not have done that, whatever the case may be. But I'm not going to let you get out in public and ridicule and criticize my son without me giving you some work. You may be right. I may call you later and say, hey, man, I was wrong, but I had to check you in public. We don't know
But
that.
what if,
all I'm saying.
okay, but what if that's an art critic, and that is somebody who's giving his professional opinion, not a personal opinion about your nephew, but a professional opinion about what your nephew's doing?
Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna get right up in here and tell you, I don't care.
Conversations,
knocking my family.
everybody's opinion on the 411 show. Right now, I'm just going on talking while nobody else is here. Oh, they're back.
Yeah. Okay. We hear you.
Antoine,
myself.
if you're in my family, I only know one way to do business. My parents raised me that we're a family and don't let nobody break the circle. So if you get out the street, talk about mine, I'm just gonna tell you. But I appreciate it.
Now I hear you. I hear you. But now with LeBron, now let's say LeBron. The next person say something about LeBron. We need him. We need him to stand up again. If somebody else say something about LeBron, then LeBron needs to stand up again and do the same thing.
I mean, and let's
call them.
I mean, but let's look at this. This isn't the first time Stephen A. has been publicly addressed about
LeBron haters. That's what I hear.
Kobe's got him. If you watch. I'm not to be honest, I respect what he does, but I don't like a lot of the things that, like the way that
I don't like this, but that's okay. That's just me.
About the last
career.
Really, you know what turned me? I'm telling you what turned me. What turned me was him that mess with him in Miami. When he did that, I lost a lot of respect for him. I really did.
What are you saying?
Because
Miami from Cleveland?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you go get 7 of the top, I mean you go get half your damn draft class that's in the top 5, and then y'all talking about y'all got to win championships together, and then you still don't win but 2 out of the 3. I mean 2 out of 4. And you really could have only had one. You really only could have had one in that clip. And if your boy David Stern doesn't stop Kobe and Chris Paul and Dwight Howard from playing, that boy ain't walking away with none. Now, if we want to really get into something, that's what we want to talk about. Because David Stern, if we want to talk about everybody babying, if we want to talk about people babying folks, that motherfather babied LeBron James's ass because he stopped Kobe Bryant and Chris Paul and Dwight Howard from being together. And if they had did that, LeBron would not be walking. He wouldn't have had none down there in Miami.
Of yourself for saying that right there. He's just a boy from the hood in Akron, and he can't help himself, and he's so good, and nobody can say he's not a family man. We can't find out nothing on him. He's better than Michael Jordan. He's safe. He don't bet on games. He doesn't commit adultery, and you're gonna say that about him too? You are dead wrong.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take it. I'll take all of that then. If that's what y'all want to give me, I'll take it.
I'm going to tell you that.
And he wasn't at the P. Diddy place also. That's another lie on him. Believe that.
Okay, he wasn't at the P. Diddy party. Hey, Mr. Brown, you want to close us out?
I would just say this. It's always interesting to get people take on the various things, but what we look at, I tell my sons, I tell anybody listen to me. You don't have to get outside your house to find a hero or somebody that, as long as somebody get up and work hard for you every day and bring you sustenance and try to make you successful. I don't know what LeBron James' life is. I don't know how much money he has to suppress whatever is out there on him. All I can say is this. I haven't seen him in any drug shit. Excuse my French. Haven't been to jail.
Are you good?
Haven't lost his money to these Kardashians. I mean, it's just a multitude of things.
That's good.
So I will leave you with this. I have a profound disdain for Michael Jordan because he went off and played baseball. You know what that was about. He comes back and he wins these ships.
He wins 3 more.
Michael Jordan is, he's so distant from the community that he served. I like people who live in their community, not necessarily live. And that's why I tell people, can't talk about the captain to me. I'm an Isaiah fan because I know what he do in the city of Detroit, even though he's from Chicago. I know what Bill Laimbeer does. I know what
he's a sore loser. That's what I know right there. I know he's a second tier.
I like a sore loser
behind Curry. That's what I know. I know he holds just like Michael Jordan holds, and I know that both of them are true competitors. Guard. And I know it makes for great conversation.
Yeah, on another night, we'll rank point guards on another night.
Girl, we are the children.
Let me tell y'all something.
So let's start.
I'm never up this time of night. I usually go to bed 7:30, 8 o'clock because I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Brown fired up.
So I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm gonna call y'all. I'm gonna get y'all. But I really appreciate the night. And what I love about this is we can agree to disagree. But like I tell you, one thing you'll never catch me doing is rooting for any team outside the state of Michigan.
Outside the state of Michigan.
And you don't even like Michigan.
Huh?
I can't stand Michigan. So that you go a little deeper than outside of the state, right?
I'm a Michigan State fan. As I tell you, Tyrone, I only root for them when they play outside the state.
Outside of the state lines,
Yeah. Now, if they're inside the state line and somebody come visit them, I don't like them. I'm a Michigan State fan. I've been a loser all my life with the Lions, the Tigers, Michigan State. Hey, you can't ruffle my feathers because I've been there. I've been down so far. That sunshine wouldn't shine on me.
Hey, let me leave you.
Oh, man.
Right here. Oscar Robertson. Oscar Robertson was a guard. He scored over 26,000 points. Was Jerry West a guard or forward? He scored 25,000 points. Westbrook
was a guard.
25,000 points. And Curry just went over 25,000 points. Anybody out there listen to this? And Michael Jordan, right? Of course. What other guard has won 4 championships, scored over 25,000 points in the NBA? Okay. 4 championships, 25,000 points, and still playing today. And we'll play another 3 to 4 years due to the way the soft game is played today. Sound like he might be better than LeBron.
Okay, I'm gonna let he's trying to start stuff.
But we'll say that for another night.
We're supposed to leave one another with a subject, but I'm gonna tell you, my guard, the captain, Zeke, Isaiah. Oh, he was rugged.
Yeah,
he played in the time you had to have
Stone Cold. Stone Cold.
Yes, sir.
Thomas. Isaiah.
Hey guys, we'll definitely get together and discuss this. Because I think something's brewing here. So, I'm good with it. I'm good with it, man. I'm good with it because this is valuable stuff right here. Just to be able to sit around and chop it up with you guys, man. So, like Brenda said, let's get to hear from you and E.
Old school player for real. That's my man for real.
Yeah.
All
right. All right.
You can't
gentlemen.
The Lions drug my feelings out of me.
Yeah.
Hey, watch this right here. Go Falcons.
Hey guys. Well, all right, guys. On that note, we need to roll out of here. So we'll catch each other again next week.
All right, man.
All right, fellas. Y'all have a good night, gentlemen. Yes, sir.
Everybody, God bless you and have a great evening.